All right, take two. So I have another message, and so the message was essentially, I was posing the question, asking God, like, should divine feminine energies take a masculine back who has dealt with a toxic karman? Okay, a toxic karman. Oh my goodness, a toxic karmic. That's what I meant to say. A toxic karmic. So should a divine feminine take a masculine back if he's dealt with this type of individual? And some of the responses were kind of interesting, you know. So, the message was, let's really dig into this. Let's really study. Let's really look at this. Okay. Let's really try to see something from a new perspective here. Okay. This is what God was letting me know. So it's like you have to look at something from a higher perspective, right? Do you love this individual? Do you really, really, really love this individual? Because if you say that you love this individual, right, then how could you say that you wouldn't take this individual back? Because if the shoe was on the other foot and you were the individual dealing with the toxic masculine, would you want him to give you that type of same forgiving type of energy, that same type of compassion, that same type of empathy, you know what I mean? To still extend a love offer to you. And when that came through, I was just kind of like, yeah, you got a nice point there, right? Like if the shoe was on the other foot, it's kind of hard to think about it. Like, would you give this individual a try or should you? Because you're just so, you know, stuck on the fact that this individual, just didn't make good decisions. You know what I'm saying? But then at the same time, it's like, but what if you were the one making not so good decisions because that's how you were raised, Like if that's all you don't know better until you come to a situation where you are faced with realizing, oh, I didn't know that this was toxic. I didn't know that this was not good. So him coming into contact with you, when you let him know, like, you are being disrespectful or that is not something you're going to tolerate, then he has the opportunity to realize, like, if he wants to change or not, or realize and seeing, like, wow, maybe there are things that are not appropriate that I'm doing, but I never looked at it like that before because essentially no one ever said that it was a problem, or it never mattered that much until you said that. You know what I'm saying? But this could be individuals who have always done this because this is how they were raised. This is what they saw. This is all they know. I mean, like, just maybe just even just being petty, like, just being in the energy of the vibration of being petty, or just being in the energy of not realizing that you have a good thing till it's gone type of energy. And that's self-sabotaging, which stems back to these masculines' childhood. You know what I'm saying? Like, these are issues that go back to the childhood where they're having to learn now how to step up and be more assertive and take a lead role and make the initiative in a healthy manner. Because I was picking up that a lot of these masculines were enabled, you know what I'm saying? And they could have been very, very much like coddled, okay, and dealt with women who were very masculine in nature, meaning that the women of their life while they were growing up, whether it was family members or just associates or schoolmates or just people who they were, starting to develop relationships with, which were supposed to be teaching lessons for them, to compare and contrast, okay? Like once they got to you, all of this is new because you're exuding a different type of energy than what they're used to. These could be masculines dealing with toxic karmic energies who are who previously were raised or have come into contact with women who are very overbearing, very masculine, very assertive, very domineering, very much, I'm hearing antagonistic type of energy. You know what I'm saying? So could have been more submissive, you know what I'm saying? Or just more reactive and didn't really initiate and didn't have to. These could be the type of men who some of you are dealing with that I'm picking up because of the way they were raised. They always had women chasing them. Okay, so they're used to that type of energy until they come across you, and then they realize like they actually have to put effort in. Like, you're not gonna just throw yourself at these individuals, or you're not going to aggressively pursue them because that's not in your nature. Being a divine feminine, you have balanced your energy out, or you know how to, you know when and where to tap into like your masculine energy when you need to, but for the most part, like exude more feminine energy, and this is not what they're used to. Okay. The other thing I was getting as well too is what I asked was how could you help the masculine like cleanse his energy, because when we look at it from a perspective from a divine feminine energy, you may be thinking like, ew, like I don't want to deal with him after he's been dealing with the caliber of toxic karmic type of women that he's been dealing with. You know what I'm saying? Because that energy is already repulsive to you, which is why some of you are in separation from them, which is why some of you don't even deal or talk to these individuals because of the type of nature of women that they deal with. You know what I'm saying? And it's because the choices that these women make, and that's what I'm talking about. Like, you know, choosing to the energy, however they choose to be in, that's what it is. Because this is not about them, so I don't really want to give too much energy to the karmic, the toxic karmic energies in this reading. But the dynamic that they have with those women are not healthy. They're toxic, and that's why we're calling them toxic karmics for a reason. You know what I'm saying? It's not healthy, but at the same time, this is something where they need to learn this lesson, because while you're in separation from them, which you most of you would be, because your energy is going to be repulsed by them having essentially that on them. And this toxic karmic energy knows this, which is why she's either going to keep trying to stay in his energetic field, get his attention, or cling on to him, because she knows that you're not going to you're not going to go back and forth and compete for something, you know, where it's like you don't compare. Like you don't compare in this situation. You don't relate. You don't have to do the type of things that this karmic does to try to keep them, because I also kept getting this one too. This is the main reason why these karmics are trying to keep these masculines. It really stems down to they want to be provided for. They want it to be tended for. They want to have access to these masculines as if they are a bank account. You know, these are karmic, toxic karmic females who look at these masculine as having money that just grows on tree, and that they can just, you know, hold their hands out and say, I'm getting like Hillary Banks type of energy. Daddy, can I have $200? That's what I'm getting. That's essentially these karmics see these masculines, these toxic karmics see these masculines as essentially ATMs. Okay. So there's no love there. There's not even love in the situation. So it's transactional. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm saying. Like you're more repulsed, and you're not gonna deal with this masculine while he's dealing with that energy, because it's almost just like chemistry, you know, like the chemistry that you and him have, and then mixing that karmic in there, it doesn't work. You know what I'm saying? It repulses you. That's all I can say. It doesn't match. It's almost like oil and water once he starts dealing with the karmic, or like radioactive goo, which is like you don't want to touch him because it's, or deal with him or be around him because it's just like it's dangerous. You know what I'm saying? Like, just if we're being super extra and dramatic about it. So with the time while he's with the karmic toxic energy, he is being able to see the difference. You know what I'm saying? He's being able to see like how you conduct yourself, how you act, and then how this individual acts and how she interacts with him, and when, you know, he's going to start to notice like, okay, she's only coming around when she wants things, or she only is coming around because now she sees I want you. Because that's the energy I was picking up as well too. Just a sidebar, that I kept getting this like annoying distraction kept coming up, and so that was like letting me know that the karmic energy keeps trying to like, it's almost like a net around the masculine at this time. He could either be distancing himself from her, or he could just be like, if he's around her, he keeps trying to stay to himself so he can have some time, so he can kind of like go into contemplation and kind of like think. You know, he could also just be needing to clear his head, because he could just be thinking about a lot of things. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like she's constantly trying to stay relevant. You know what I'm saying? Kind of almost, it's giving me like I'm hearing Petty Betty energy. Never heard of that before, but Petty Betty is giving a nuisance energy is what I was going to say. Like it's giving like a nuisance, like a fruit fly, you know, like how you keep swatting the damn fly and it keeps coming back like right in your like face, like by your eye. And it's like, I feel like that's how the karmic is, like keep trying to distract him because she feels his energy pulling away from her, and she feels that he is disconnecting from her, but also longing and missing you. You know what I'm saying? So he could be with her and she feels this, or he could have pulled away from her, but she senses that, she knows that, she fears that he's going to come back towards you. You know what I'm saying? So she could be trying to be very annoying and distracting to try to stay relevant in his energy because, she feeds off of him, you know, and knowing that she can keep his attention, so that way she can get what she wants from him material wise. Um, so I was asking, how could you help the masculine cleanse his energy? Because, essentially, for those of you who do decide that you want to give this masculine another opportunity, you you are going to need to want to cleanse his energy, okay? And what I was advised was that you can do. There are resources out there, okay? There are things that you could do, like okay, there's some things you could do. Do your research. I don't. Yeah, do your research, okay? I could tell you, but I want y'all to do your research, okay? Because it's going to tell the difference between you and the karmic. You know what I mean? Do your research. Um, I feel like as well too, the difference is going to be where you need to incorporate both physical and spiritual aspects. So the physical could be something like, well, cleansing his energy, so like a spiritual bath type of thing. But then the physical aspect is going to be like a spiritual cleansing or other things. The uh, spiritual aspect, I don't know why I feel like I keep saying the same thing. The physical aspect is going to be a bath or something of that nature, a spiritual bath. And then the spiritual aspect is going to be, I was getting that he needs to connect with his ancestors. And some of these masculines are so closed off and disconnected from that concept and notion. And it's something that they don't even believe in, okay? Because they just haven't, these could be masculines that you're dealing with who don't do this. You know what I'm saying? Like, you would be the first individual probably like introducing them to this. Because I guarantee if they were in contact with their ancestors, they would not be with these toxic karmics. So that just shows that they are so far removed and disconnected from who they truly are because they're not even staying connected to their roots. And I feel like this is interesting coming up right now, especially because we're in Cancer season, and Cancer does talk about past, history, nostalgia, family, and roots. You know what I'm saying? And also, which your roots could be your ancestors. So I kind of feel like um, this is where you come in, Divine Feminine. Like, for those of you who do decide to reconnect, okay, or reconcile with the individual, if you choose to do so, if that is in your best interest, you would bring this component to him and help him, realize that this is something that would be helpful for him because this is a component that he's missing. You know what I'm saying? And I just feel like this is something that you would help introduce him to, but he would have to be open to it because, like I said, he would have to cleanse himself physically and spiritually because it's still going to be like remnants. I'm getting like remnants and lingering energy, but it's really the spiritual concept because the spiritual concept is more so something that you can't see. You know what I'm saying? Like, he could do the physical, the spiritual baths, wash up every day, do this and that, but if he's not spiritually, getting that protection and having that connection with his ancestors, or having the protection, um, having his ancestors provide protection for him, he's missing a very significant component. You know what I'm saying? To helping him essentially heal, release, let go, and move on from the toxic karmic energy, from the connection, from just moving on from that relationship to this relationship. And I just feel like this kind of helpful when you just go from relationships in general is just to incorporate like positive, just positive things that you could do, activities, okay, let's call them, that you could do to just essentially release, cleanse, let go. Because I feel like a lot of people don't do that when they move from one aspect of their life, closing out a chapter and going on to the next. And that's how people still, linger and stay connected to things way past the expiration date, or still have situations where they're leaving doors open that shouldn't be left open. You know what I'm saying? Because that kind of gets mucky when you leave those doors open when you should be, closing those doors. There's no reason why after you walk away from a situation that was only just supposed to be a lesson, and you've learned the lesson and you're moving forward, you should be like, that's not something you should be doing, is leaving the door open. And I feel like a lot of these masculines, they're not used to that. They're used to still just moving on, still leaving. It's almost like they move locations like in the ocean, but they still have their fishing pole line still in different locations. They're just moving the boat, but the fishing pole is still connected in the boat with the line out in the water, just in different locations. They just keep moving the boat. So essentially, just if you just picture that image, they have not. They still have their, they're still trying to catch, or still trying to leave the door open, or still trying to leave some, access out there to keep that out there, like, to bait these energies in. And that's where the issue is. But it also comes to other things as well too, that some of you may need to incorporate, where it comes to these individuals changing their numbers, where it comes to maybe some of you need to physically move and relocate. That would be another thing that you would need to do. I just feel like there are just things that need to be done in a healthy manner to fully officially close that chapter out, so and you feel comfortable and secure, if you were to move forward with this individual. But you would know what works best for you. I just really think it comes down to needing to really make it, define it, like defining what in your relationship, how that needs to look, with releasing the past, releasing exes. You know what I'm saying? These exes, these toxic karmics, whatever they, you know, it's just like, it's going to look different for all of you. Like, whatever